Hello everyone, it's Scott, and today we're going to be looking at the Izzet Pirates deck that is seeing some success in Lost Caverns of Ixalan. So pirates were one of the themes from the set, and this deck is utilizing the best pirates from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan to put together a pretty solid deck that can win games quickly and even in longer, grindier games have a chance. So what do we got here? So first thing we've got is 4 copies of Spyglass Siren. It's flying and it creates that map token, and that's important given some of the other things we have in the deck, which we'll talk about in a minute. Next we've got Goblin Tomb Raider. We got 2 copies of this, and this triggers off of our Spyglass Siren's map token because it'll give it +1 and haste. At the 2-drop spot, we've got Captain Storm, Cosmium Raider, and Captain Storm's ability allows us to grow our pirates every time we have an artifact come into play. So having cards like Spyglass Siren are important to activate that. We also have Staunch Crewmate for some additional card draw, because when you play Staunch Crewmate, you get to look at the top 4 cards of your library, and you can reveal an artifact or a pirate from among them. And most of the time you're going to get a hit from it, but sometimes you don't. But in any case, it's a good card for the deck. Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel is another flyer for the deck. We have 2 copies of it. And Malcolm, every time it is a card that's going to draw you a card, and then you discard. And if you get 4 of them on there, you may cast a discarded card without paying its mana cost, which could be very important late in the game. Haven't had too many opportunities to do that, but it's an ability that I do like. All right, all at the 3-drop spot, we've got Kitesail Larcenist. This is our removal spell in the deck for the most part, because when Kitesail Larcenist comes into play, you can have it turn a creature or an artifact your opponent controls into a treasure token. And a lot of times that allows you to take out their Sheoldred or whatever their best creature is and put them behind the game because of that. And then the last creature in the deck, we've got Breeches, Eager Pillager for 3 mana, and we get a first striking 3/3 Goblin Pirate. And Breeches is really the card that glues the deck together, because when you attack with a pirate, you get to activate one of his abilities, and that's create a treasure token. Target creature can't block this turn, or you can exile the top card of your library, and you may play that this turn. And a lot of times when you've got Breeches on the field, you're going to attack with 2 or 3 pirates each turn, and the result of that is you're going to get 2, maybe 3 triggers on a given turn. And the result of that is you're able to take your opponent down fairly quickly. All right, we also have in the deck 4 Subterranean Schooners to give us some additional ability to do some damage to our opponents, and then that is another artifact in the deck that activates Captain Storm's ability. But more importantly, what we have here is we can use our smaller creatures to crew Subterranean Schooner, and when we do that, they explore. So that allows, hopefully, get our creatures to grow a little bit, and as a result of that, make them better on the next turn. And ideally, we're playing a creature each turn, and that creature then is used to crew Subterranean Schooner. All right. We also have a couple copies of Make Disappear to deal with spells that our opponents are playing that are pretty big and we want to get rid of. And we have 4 copies of Lightning Strike because we want some removal in the deck. Previous versions of the deck that I've seen had more copies of Goblin Tomb Raider, had a full 4, and some Spell Pierces, but I took those out because I really wanted that ability to do some direct damage and or kill some small creatures with Lightning Strike. And we also have 2 copies of Witchstalker Frenzy to remove threats like Sheoldred. In our mana base, we've got 5 islands, we've got an Otawara, we got 3 mountains, a Sokenzan, 2 Restless Spires, 4 Shivan Reef, 3 copies of Stormcarved Coast, 3 Cavern of Souls, and 2 Mirrex to give us a little bit of additional creature creation late in the game. And in our sideboard, we got 4 Lithomantic Barrages, 3 Disdainful Strokes, 2 Vampire's Vengeance, 1 End the Festivities, 2 Zodiac Glyphs, and 2 copies of Jaya, and a 3rd copy of Witchstalker's Frenzy. In games where we're really needing a big attacker, or blocker, we can bring this in to help us out in those situations. All right, so that's the deck. Let's get into some gameplay. All right, so a decent first hand here. The unfortunate thing about it is we are going to have to pay some life to get our first couple of cards down, but that's okay. The deck usually either really wipes somebody out or we get wiped out. Usually one of the two is going to happen. So in all likelihood, this is again unfortunately one of those games where we're not in that great a position because of what the opponent's going to get to play. Now the good news is we're going to take Staunch Crewmate, Captain Storm here, with the hope that we can create some artifacts as the game goes on, build our guys up, and then hopefully be able to take out the opponent. Okay, so good turn for us because they weren't able to really get that going. So what I'm going to do here is cast... Oh, I made a mistake. I was supposed to Captain Storm there, not Subterranean Schooner, or Staunch Crewmate and then Subterranean Schooner on the next turn with Captain Storm, because we would have had the mana for that. So casting this early means that trigger doesn't go off. But we got Breeches next turn, which is actually probably the card. So now it's doubly bad for me because not only don't we get the trigger from Subterranean Schooner, but we also don't get the trigger from Breeches when we create the token. Okay, get 4 in. Okay, Kamano becomes a creature. Okay, they get another life. And a Blood Type Harvester. And the Blood Type Harvester is one I'm actually a little bit concerned about here. So what I may do is, I think the best move here is not to play. We're going to play Captain Storm, and then we're going to go ahead and kill Blood Type Harvester, get ourselves a little bit ahead on board, and we'll use the Subterranean Schooner using Captain Storm to get another attacker in, and we get the trigger there. We get an extra land for ourselves. So we'll be up to probably 5 mana next turn, especially once we get to the Breeches triggers, which will be, because we've got 3 on the field, what that'll mean for us is we'll get a treasure. One of the opponent's creatures won't be able to attack, plus we'll be able to draw another card that we can play this turn. Alright. So the opponent's going to try, I guess, probably kill Captain Storm. Yeah, so that was awful for us, unfortunately, because we lost 2 cards there. I'm going to play Breeches here, and we'll power it up because we got to get in some damage. We get our triggers, and I'm going to take the treasure token here. Get Captain Storm next turn. They're down to 5. I'm not really worried about large amounts of removal here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and make sure we get Captain Storm into our hand. We'll draw that here. Wow, very good draw. And then we'll be able to play Captain Storm into Spyglass Siren and create a 3/2 attacker. And then when we trigger it again, we'll be able to get another 3/2 attacker. So depending on what they do here, we may have lethal this turn. All right, they're going to make us discard a card. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and discard Spyglass Siren, even though it would have given us a map token. In the big scheme of things, it's better to go ahead and keep Captain Storm so that way we can get that +1/+1 counter when we attack. And it looks like they're done for their turn, so we're going to make one of them play this. And we're going to activate Restless Spire, going down to 7. Have Captain Storm be our crewer. And we should be able to finish them off here. Okay, so we'll take our treasure, take our can't block, and we'll take our card. Even though that's probably irrelevant, we'll take it anyway. We'll take that as well. And this is how the deck can be very explosive at times. And opponent scoops it up. Alright, there's victory. And we got a pretty decent hand to start with. We can make something, we can counter a spell. We've got 2 quick cards we can get down. I'm just going to play that with the island so we're not giving away that we've got that Cavern of Souls. It might be relevant later. We'll see. Actually, this looks like potentially a mono blue deck, so this is a really huge play right now, and that's going to prevent them from playing any of their counter spells against us. Oh, we strike out with Staunch Crewmate, which is unfortunate, but we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to play Coast, and I'm actually going to go ahead and use our map token. Okay, we get a Witchstalker's Frenzy on top, which is actually a pretty good card for us, knowing that they've got big creatures that's a good removal spell against. Okay, they're going to pass. And we'll hold on to that. We'll play the Reef. And I'll go ahead and go again. All right, they're down to 11. And if they don't play a creature on this turn, then I'm going to play one of the lightning strikes. I'm going to play this lightning strike here, so that way we can go ahead and get them down to 8, and that puts them on a 2-turn clock. They're going to negate that, and that's perfectly fine. We get it out of their hand, so they can't use it later against something we actually would care to counter. Okay, it looks like we'll be doing the same thing next turn. We'll try to lightning strike on their end step, and yep, they're scooping it up. Pretty quick there. Alright, playing Is It Pirates on the Ladder. And we're going second here. And we got a pretty good hand to start with here. So I think we'll keep this and go ahead and play Spyglass Siren on turn 1. And then we'll probably go with Subterranean Schooner. And then on turn 3, we'll be able to go ahead and cast Captain Storm. Or actually, we'll go turn 2 Captain Storm into turn 3 Subterranean Schooner. Looks like we're playing a control deck again. We'll play Captain Storm here. We'll see if this gets countered. And I almost would rather have this countered than see Subterranean Schooner counter, because Subterranean Schooner, anything can crew it, and that's probably a good piece for us. Alright, we're playing the Azorius gained tons of life deck. Alright. They're not going to play anything. So I'm going to go ahead and play Schooner here to get an activation of Captain Storm. Okay, we'll put that on our Siren. And I'm going to go ahead and use our map token on Captain Storm here. We'll see if we get a card. Okay, we do. Good. So now we've got a card we'll be able to play next turn and use, and they're playing some more Faithless Mending to gain some more life. So they've so far gained 4 life, and this is the Azorius Control Mill deck that seems to be seeing a lot of play in Standard right now, particularly on the ladder. So if we could draw one of our Make Disappears, that'd be really helpful, because then maybe we can prevent the opponent from taking out one of our good creatures here. And because of the fact that there's a likelihood that we get our opponent playing either a because our opponent's probably going to play here either a Wandered Emperor, or next turn go ahead and clear the board. we're going to go ahead and do this. We get Breeches on that, so that's great. So if they do give us the opportunity to play one more turn, and then now we get the Wandering Emperor. So we'll go ahead and we're just going to kill the Wandering Emperor. They're going to be able to, unfortunately, be able to exile something, but we're going to take it out now. We're not going to let it be on the board because it's just too powerful. And unfortunately, they're going to take that out. And in response, so they don't gain life, I'm actually going to kill Schooner so they can't gain life. And basically, they spent 4 mana and got very little value out of it. But on the other hand, we didn't get a lot of value out of that either because we had to use our Lightning Strike and our Witchstalker Frenzy to deal with that. Some more Faithless Mending going on. So that's, what, 3 they've used so far, or 4 now. Lots of them. Yeah, so they've used it 4 times, so they've gained 8 life. And we're going to do it again, so they're going to gain 10 life. They gained 10 life so far. And this is the bad part about this deck that we're playing against, because it really, really is hard on decks that want to play a fair game of Magic, because unfortunately there's just not a lot we can do in these situations, given how much mana they're going to be able to gain, or life they're gaining because of that. Alright, we're going to go with Pirates here, play our Cavern, and we're going to hold Kitesail Larcenist because we don't want to run it into a board wipe, which probably is coming this turn, and we're going to want that to help us rebuild. But if they don't board wipe here, we're in actually pretty good shape to win this match, because we've got a lot of 3/3s out there. And it is possible that they do have a temporary lockdown, which would hurt us, but looks like they're digging, which is a very good sign for us. And now that's 12 life they've gained from Faithful Mending. So we've actually done 20 damage plus already in this game. Alright, we're going to go ahead and attack here, expecting an Elspeth Smite or something to occur. So you can't. Okay, we get good. So I'm going to put it on the Goblin Raider, because this is the card they're least likely to actually do something about. Interesting, they went ahead and used the Get Lost on that, which triggers us twice. And that should end it. Nice. Alright, so we actually did 33 damage to our opponent in that matchup. Alright, playing Is It Pirates. We've got actually a pretty good draw here. We got a good turn 1, a good turn 2, and some options as we go forward. So we'll keep this one. Hopefully getting Breeches down on turn 3 with a couple of creatures in play. And that's going to be really powerful for us, because we'll be able to start creating treasure, drawing some extra cards that we can play on that turn, or just making our opponent's creatures not be able to block. Here gets us. So this is one of our actually worst matchups, actually, because when we look at this particular matchup, gotta play that. Sorry, play Goblin Tomb Raider here. So they're gonna have to, we can potentially block with it against Monastery Swiftspear if they play a different creature. And if they got targeted removal, I'd actually rather see Tomb Raider die here than Spyglass Siren, because Spyglass Siren is going to be in the air, and that'll give us a better attacker in this particular situation. Hopefully they didn't get a lot of removal. If they did, then this will be a very short game, unfortunately for us. I'm going to say go here, because we're going to cast Malcolm on their turn at the end step here. Hopefully they don't have, they have a Felden. Can't do much about that. And they're probably in a situation where they're just going to win this, but we'll give it another turn or two to see if we can hold on. cast Malcolm. Hopefully they don't have a play with fire. Don't appears. Okay, now we're going to play Stormcarved Coast. And we're going to go ahead and attack with Malcolm. We're going to go ahead and create a treasure so we can get another card. We're going to get rid of Shivan Reef here because we've got another Stormcarved Coast. We're going to play that, use that to play Spyglass Siren to give us a flyer, and potentially next turn the ability to go ahead and play that out. And if they've got this, then yeah. I mean, again, this is not. There's nothing we can do. This is just an arena loss. Arena, is killing us, and unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. All right, but before we go, we'll see if they've got another one. We're going to turn this into a treasure token. And the reason I'm turning it into a treasure token, we draw a land, then we can play Kitesail Larcenist and Breeches next turn, and that would be very good for us. Now the question is, do they have something here? Yeah, they got a 5/4, which is really bad for us. But again, because of the situation, we're going to be able to. We're not going to do anything on our side, but we're going to make that a treasure token because I think you need some treasure. Next turn we'll go ahead with Breeches again because Breeches is a good blocker against Swift Spear. If it doesn't get above 3, then we're in pretty good shape. So in this situation, we're going to go ahead and kill Squee in this instance. And they don't attack. Alright. So that's even better for us. Because what that means is we're going to place our third Kitesail Larcenist. We'll take out the Squee. And then we'll play Breeches, and now we're in really good shape because we're going to be able to do two things. And we'll create a treasure. We're going to look at a card. Hopefully it's something that we can play. Good, it's a Mirrex. Oh, I guess we played a land for turn, unfortunately, so we lose the Mirrex. But we're in good shape here because they've got to have something better than what they've got to attack with. And they may attack with Felden here just to see if they can get something. And I'm going to, so that none of my creatures get damaged, we'll just use Breeches. It's going to give them a land and a lightning strike. So they're going to actually be able to kill Breeches, which really is bad for us. But it was a chance we had to take there, unfortunately. And maybe if I had played it better, no, they got 2 lightning strikes, so that didn't work out very well. But we've got a lightning strike now, which is a nice thing. We're going to go ahead and attack for 6. We'll hold on to our lightning strike, kind of see what they do here, and if they try to cast... Okay, Chandra's okay for us. We've got lethal on the swing back. They don't have anything in the air that can block, so I think we've got a chance here. Okay, they're going to add mana, do a damage. Okay, the mana obviously we know is useless. So this should be a win for us, and we can kill, Swift Spear if we need to. And just because we're going to go ahead and kill Swift Spear. And that gives us a good game. We'll get a good game back. And we'll go ahead and attack for lethal. Alright, we beat Mono Red, which is a really hard thing for this deck to do because Mono Red is just so fast that this deck needs a turn or two to set up, and you don't typically get that. And we're back for the outro here. So looking at our data, I've been very successful with the deck in best of 1 and about 50-50 in best of 3 with the deck. But right now I'm winning about 59% of the time, which I think is a little bit better than average. So I think the deck has a lot of potential. And I think adding those lightning strikes actually made a big difference in the deck because it allowed me to kill some things that I wouldn't have otherwise been able to deal with, and also do some damage at the end of a game or in the middle of a game to get the opponent down to a place where the next attack wins the game. So overall, I'm 41-29 with the deck. And if you look at some of the matchups that we have problems with, a little bit with Esper, a little bit with Mono Red, But for the most part, the better decks were doing okay against. And that leads me to believe that the deck's probably a decent deck. Now, is it a tier 1 deck? Probably not, but certainly a tier 2 deck. And once I made those changes to Lightning Strike, removing the Spell Pierces, removing the Goblin Tomb Raiders, I was up to a 62% win rate, and we're actually winning at 52% on the draw, which I think tells me that that's probably the right place for the deck. And getting 66% on the play really helps us out. So that's Is It Pirates? Leave your comments in the comment section, and I will see you in the next one.